Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning. Today is February 1st, the regular scheduled Board of County Commissioners meeting. We all please could stand. We have our invocation by Pastor Gaspar. Please come forward, Pastor, for our invocation. After that, we'll follow the Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, thank you for this honor. Lord, I pray for an Issachar anointing upon this board, that they would know not only the season that we live in, but also what to do during this season. I pray for wisdom in their hearts, that their ears be open to what the Spirit of God is about to say to them to make the right decisions and choices that they have to make. I pray for their families. I pray for everyone that's in this room, that your health and wholeness continue to be around them. And Lord, that COVID-19 will no longer be an effect in this region, in this county, and in America. So we thank you, Lord, that you're greater in us than he that's in this world. Have your way today. We honor you and bless you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please join the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. We actually have a couple ceremonials this morning. The first one's actually a surprise for one of my colleagues this morning. So, you know, in Lee County, a lot of good things happen over the years, and one thing that's happened in the last 40 years is Commissioner Mann. Commissioner Mann has been an icon, obviously, in Lee County and through the political circles and everything. And we'd like to recognize Commissioner Mann today for his 15 years of service with Lee County. You have a little certificate here, so we haven't been doing the employee pin. So, Commissioner Mann, come here. Congratulations. Surprise, huh? So this is your 15 years. We'll get a picture. And also, staff is also, HR staff is put together. We have a little wood plaque here, and you have your 5, 10, and 15 years. So in case you forget, you've been here 5, 10, 15 years. And this is before term limits, so you can get that 15-year pin. Some of us will never see that 15-year pin, but congratulations. Thank you for everything. And thank you for the 40-plus years of your service and your family service to Lee County. And thank you again. So if we can get a picture.
Let me
get a picture.
Let me get in the middle.
Yeah.
You do a middle thing.
There you go.
Y'all are stuck with me for another 3 years too. You ain't getting rid of me with this.
2 years, 8 months, and 3 weeks.
Who's counting? Yeah. And thank all of y'all for showing up. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
I was joking about the timeline there, Commissioner Mann. Commissioner Mann, I know you'd like to say a few words, so why don't you?
No, I don't want to say a few words. I've said, I open my mouth so often, too often around here, but it has been an honor. And I will tell you this little history. You just may find this interesting. I was named for my mother's father. His name was Franklin Balch. I'm Franklin Balch Mann. He was what amounts to a county commissioner in Topsfield, Massachusetts for 45 years. He has been my role model for public service. And when I finish this term, I will have come close to matching his 45 years. So I'm very proud of the background. I'm very proud of the support that Lee County has shown for me for so many years. So it's been an honor to serve you guys. Thank you.
And for the newbies in the audience, Commissioner Mann first ran for school board in 1968. I think some of us weren't even here at the time. And after that, he served in the House of Representatives and the Florida Senate for many years. So when we say the 44 years of service, thank you, Commissioner Mann, for not just for local government, for your state government service, and water management, too. You've done a lot through the years.
Hospital board, too.
Hospital board? Let me keep going. I can keep going. Thank you. Okay, next resolution we have on the record this morning, we have a resolution recognizing the Florida Urban Search Rescue Team. If I could have all the public safety employees and all the public urban search rescue team come forward here. Come on, I see a lot of uniforms. So if you all just kind of gather in the middle here, and then somebody by the podium, I have a resolution to read recognizing all your efforts and everything you've done. We have a lot of public safety people here this morning and pilots and everybody else. So
Sir? Great.
then after I'm going to read the resolution of record.
Thank you all for coming.
We'll get a picture together. Then one of you have a spokesperson. We'll have to just recognize everybody.
Just stand right in front. You look sharp.
There you go.
How you guys doing?
Perfect. You're fine.
Good to see you guys again.
Okay, so we'd like to recognize the group this morning with a resolution for the record, and the record reads as, whereas Southwest Florida Urban Search and Rescue was formed in June of 2001 to provide specialized rescue response to incidents that involve confined space, trench, low, high angle rope, swift water, and structural collapse situations. You know where I'm going with this then. Whereas this team is designed by the state of Florida as the Florida Task Force 6 and is available to respond to search and rescue emergencies throughout the state. Whereas the task force is composed of firefighters, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, and other specialists from over a dozen different agencies within the region, including the Lee County Department of Public Safety. Whereas on June 25th, 2021, the state of Florida activated the Florida Task Force 6 to respond to support operations at the towers collapse in Surfside, Florida. Whereas team members operating at the disaster site for more than a week, day and night, 24 hours a day, worked to clear rubble, search for victims, support families impacted by the collapse. Whereas their work brought peace and closure to the families of Surfside and around the world for days to follow. Now therefore resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lee County, Florida recognizes the outstanding efforts of the Southwest Florida Urban Search and Rescue Task Force 6 and wishes to make it known publicly that their work locally and across the state is recognized by the citizens and visitors of Lee County, duly executed and signed by myself to this day, Cecil Pendergrass. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you guys for
And ladies. If I could, sir.
I'm upstairs, gonna take
Oh.
a picture.
Oh.
You guys can move in just a little bit, please. There you go. Yes, sir? Perfect. All right, and 1, 2, and 3. And one more.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would like the spokesperson like to address the board for a minute and give us a little bit of background? And the rest of you guys can go behind them if you'd like to go. Just go down so everybody can recognize you. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Very much. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, just go. There's mic on and everything. Just
3 minutes. Thank you, 3 minutes, I got it.
yeah, 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Shane Seibert. I am happy and honored to say I'm the program manager of this outfit that I love more than anything. Nothing held more true than our first really deployment together since new management, new team leadership in 2018 during Hurricane Michael. We spent just upwards about 2 weeks together. I think we bonded then, but this crew, they come together from many different departments. We're comprised of about 13 different departments in this region. We cover Region 6, 9 counties. So now we're kind of getting out there and getting a little notoriety behind our name because we're actually we're a great support system for our FEMA brothers and sisters just south of here, Task Force 1 and 2, which is Miami-Dade and City of Miami. So really, you said everything, sir, and I appreciate you described the event well. This is something I don't think any of us will ever forget, and this is a certain chapter in our life, but I think it's also a milestone, and we want to build on that just to make our team better. I know the governor and the CFO is behind us 100%, and we couldn't do this without your support as well, and the support of the chiefs. I've got chiefs here, public safety directors, so thank you. That's really, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I'm honored to speak on men and women and our furry friends too.
I'd like to point out, Commissioner Heyman reminded me also on our agenda day, we're actually approving a grant from your organization today for $31,000. So you have our support, and hopefully that everything passes today.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all be safe out there.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, it's great to have that type of organization behind us. great to have them there, and hopefully you never have to use them. But if you do need them, at least we know the service is there and dedication for those employees are there. So thank you again for your service. Okay, so we had a lot of good business there. Now we move on to the consent agenda. So I'm going to ask for items to be pulled by the discussion by the board. Commissioner Mann, would you like to pull anything? Commissioner Hammond?
I have none.
Commissioner Sandelli? None. Commissioner Wayne?
None.
I have no items, so at this time I'll ask motion to approve the balance.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion, we have a second. Any public comment on the consent agenda? Being none, we'll come back to the board. We have a vote and any objection? No objection, motion carries. Move on to administrative agenda. Roger?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Administrative item number 1, asking you to authorize amendments to the LEAP plan to support economic development, and would ask Mr. Loveland to present the item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Loveland, Lee County Community Development. This item is a request for authorization from the board to move forward with a county-initiated comprehensive plan amendment to update the economic element of the LEAP plan. The element is somewhat dated. It hasn't been updated in a long time, and we need to update it to make sure we're consistent with current statutory references and identifying target industries. So the market has changed pretty dramatically since we put that forward originally, and so some of that information needs to be updated. I want to stress that the economic element is really a series of policies related to the idea of promoting economic development, being business friendly. So it's at a very general level. So more detailed and specific economic development plans for specific geographic areas like North Fort Myers or Lehigh Acres would be developed separately, and that'll be a separate discussion. So again, we're just seeking authorization to move forward to work with the economic development staff and county administration, the county attorney's office to draft an update to the economic element that we would then take through the LPA before it comes back to the board for transmittal and adoption.
Thank you. Any questions for the staff?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just real quick, I'm very supportive of what we're asking to do here, to go ahead and send it through the process. Just kind of wanted to get some clarity on the process. So how will you all work with our Economic Development Office to draft this and author this?
We've actually already had a few meetings on that topic and started a draft that we're working through with them and with county administration.
Good deal. All right. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. It's good to know that there'll be some good cooperation and collaboration then between the two departments as this gets drafted.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion, questions from the board? Okay. Is there any public comment on this item? We'll come back to the board for a motion.
I'll move approval, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 2, Roger.
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Yep.
Item number 2 is a request, twofold request actually, pertaining to the matter of the tornadoes that tragically struck Lee County on January 16th, 2022. Commissioners, as you will recall, we requested and you all instituted 3 declarations of states of local emergency. We're asking that those actions be ratified and confirmed by the entire Board of County Commissioners, as well as extend the state of local emergency going forward for a 7-day period, and that it is subject to renewals after the expiration of those 7 days. We will report back to you the status of the state of local emergency at your next board meeting.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for the county attorney?
I'll move approval, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion.
Second it.
We have a motion second. Any public comment on item number 2? Being none, we'll come back to the board. Any objections? No objection, motion carries. Thank you.
You.
Item number 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Number 3, asking you to approve the second amendment to the existing solid waste service agreement with Dana. Mr. Whitehead, please present that.
Good morning, Doug.
Morning. Good morning, Commissioners. This contract, as stated, extends 7 years to November 2031. In addition, there are 4 to 10-year extensions that could after 2027. So the extensions are based upon approval of the board and must be approved by the board. It reduces the operational payments by about 5%, which is about $1 million per year. And also, but it does assume is that the county will take over life extension projects to continue the life of our 27-year-old facility. All expenditures are mutually agreed, and the expected life extension costs are $2.5 million annually. This also does allow us time to assess future waste-to-energy expansion or a new plant. During the process, we reached out to many other companies, and there were no other responsible bidders interested, so we decided to bring this extension of the present contract to you.
Great, thank you. Any questions for staff?
Can you explain that, why you think there were no other takers here?
The waste-to-energy plant is a very specialized $600 million investment, which obviously burns garbage to create energy. It's a very specialized industry. There's one other company in the United States, WIN, which does this. They are primarily entrenched in New England. We reached out to them. They were not interested in even visiting our plant to take a look at it. European companies have exited the United States market between 2012 and 2013. So we reached out to them, and we also saw Pasco County's experience, which is they went out to bid, and they got a price about 20% higher than the price they were negotiating with Covanta at the time. So we made a decision to extend it under.
Say that big number again that you just said.
So the replacement cost of our plant is approximately $600 million at present rates.
And it originally cost?
The first two boilers in the early 1990s cost approximately $130 million. And then the third boiler, which was added in 2007, cost about another $130 million. But today, we believe that the replacement cost of the plant is about $600 million.
I'm almost forcing you to come up with an answer that I could fairly well anticipate, but looking back on that investment, how many years ago? 25, 20?
27. Actually, the decision's about 30 years ago, I believe.
And it came to life with no small amount of controversy and debate, and I believe some jail history for some of the participants at the time. Would you, though, say that in your judgment, your professional judgment, that looking back and at what appears to me to be the success of the operation, that all things considered, it was indeed a good investment?
Yes, sir, I do. It was for several reasons. One, we are one of the top, always one of the top 3 sustainable counties as rated by Florida DEP in the state of Florida. And in addition,
one of the top what counties?
3 sustainable counties. We recycle more than all but maybe 1 or 2 counties as a percentage in the state of Florida. And also, our rates to citizens, which, as you recall, I present quite often, are very low in the state of Florida and certainly in the United States overall.
Mr. Chairman and colleagues, I just, I didn't want this moment to pass as just another routine approval by us on another contract extension. This is a big operation. We don't do anything bigger than this proposition. And I'm sorry that there are not more people interested in offering to run this program for us. But having said that, I want to point out that my experience with Covanta, who this contract is going to be extended with, their staff has been what I would always consider crack staff and very responsive to any questions that the county has had or me as an individual county commissioner. So I wanted to point out what I believe is a glorious history here. And I'm looking forward to continuing to work with these good folks, and I'm very pleased that they're willing to continue to serve us. And the little guy with his head going up and down, he's the one I'm talking about that's been there all along, and I'm just glad he's still part of this team. So, yeah, I'll be happy to make the motion when it gets around to it.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? I just want to say, Commissioner Mann said we had the 25th anniversary a few years ago of this plant, and we were out there for that. I think yourself were out there, and Commissioner Sandell. And it's a great program because a lot of people move here, they don't realize that we don't use the landfill in Lee County. It gets burned, wasted energy, and it's nice to know we're being so sustainable in Lee County and our recycle rate. So it's a good thing, and so thank you for that motion, Commissioner Mann. Commissioner Sandell?
Yeah, I'm not surprised, after learning over the past couple of years, the complexity of what that plant means, the people, and the necessity as we continue to grow. So I'm not surprised that there are a lot of people trying to jump into that arena. It's amazing. When I was a kid in the Northeast, we went to the dump. And when I went out for the first time, I was stunned at what the operation is. I feel very good about the way we do things. So my compliments, and happy to go forward with this.
Commissioner Wayne?
I mean, I think Commissioner Mann does a great job. The size of this operation really prevents many people to enter into the arena. Not only what we seem to process as far as tonnage a year, but what we're actually, processing and eliminating excess tonnage that we do. I mean, having gone there, it's amazing as someone that was a mayor of a small city, and all I had the privilege of doing is signing an interlocal agreement, not knowing exactly what it went on. But going out there, the size of the operation, I think, is the challenge we have as we continue to get bigger. There's really not a lot of companies that can service us. To Commissioner Mann's point, they do a great job, but the size, I think, is really the issue why we don't get more people bidding.
Thank you.
Great job.
We have a motion, second. Any public comment on this item? Being none, we'll come back to the board. Any objections to the motion?
Thank you, Doug.
No objection, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Doug. Item number 4.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 4, we're asking you to post-ratify an agreement with the City of Fort Myers for the sale of bulk potable water. And I'll do this when it's well, Pam, go ahead. Come on. Yep. Come on. I'll help if need be.
Thank you. Pam Keys, Utilities Director. This MOU was put together by our County Attorney's Office to allow the county to sell bulk water to the city. We've been working with the city as well as the regulatory community to prepare for providing them with up to 1.5 million gallons per day. We opened the interconnect yesterday, and so far we're seeing very good results from the customers.
Great, thank you. I'd just like to say thank you for staff working with, I contacted staff probably a few weeks ago about this when I had some meetings with Councilwoman Bonk. Some of the Ward 6 residents were experiencing basically no water pressure at all in the southern portion of the city due to all the extra users being put on the line. And so the county, thank Roger and your staff and Pam for stepping up and working with Marty and the city council over there to get this done, because there's a lot of residents in south to the city there that they didn't have pressure, and because they had expanded their system over the years and didn't have enough. They lost one well recently because of a sleeve or something gave out, but we came to the rescue for the city residents. So thank you for putting this together.
Thank you.
Any questions from staff, for the staff?
Just one, Mr. Chairman, if I may. So what happens at the end of the 150 days? What are their plans to rectify the situation over the next 150 days?
So as mentioned, the city is in process of not only redeveloping some of their wells, but also installing new wells. Their hope is that within 150 days, they'll be able to provide more capacity based on those construction projects.
Excellent.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff? Okay.
Move the item.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any public comment on this item? Being none, we'll come back to the board. Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, please, just on that item, I'd like to thank the State Department of Health and Department of Environmental Protection. They were quick to expedite the review process that was required in order for us to be able to sell this water to the city. So thank you to those state departments as well.
Thank you. Public hearing number 1.
Morning, Commissioners. David Halverson, County Attorney's Office. I have your 2 public hearings this morning. These items have been duly advertised and providing the affidavits of publication to the clerk. Item number 1 is a petition to vacate the public's interest in a 63-square-foot portion of the platted right-of-way lying adjacent to the waters of Estero Bay at 712 and 714 Fisherman's Wharf, Fort Myers Beach. There were no objections to the requested vacation. If there's any questions, we would be happy to answer them.
Any questions for staff, the county attorney? Being none, we actually have 2 public comment cards on this item. Anything else you'd like to add before we go public comment? You're good?
No more comments from me.
Thank you. First speaker is Joanne Summer. Joanne Summer? No, you're good? Okay. And Joseph Bensley? Good, okay, thank you. We'll come back to the board.
Mr. Chairman?
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any other discussion? Motion, any objections? Motion carries. Number 2, please.
Item number 2 is also a petition to vacate. This is a petition to vacate the public's interest in the unimproved public utility easement centered along the common property lot line between lots 16 and 17 of the platted lots of 509 Thompson Avenue and Lehigh Acres. There were no objections to this petition to vacate either.
Great. Any public comment on item number 2? Being none, we'll come back to the board.
I'll second Commissioner Mann's motion for approval.
Sure.
We have a motion from Commissioner Mann, a second from Commissioner Hammond. Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, David. We had no walk-on carryovers this morning. Commissioner items, Commissioner Mann.
I'm plumb out.
You plumbed out? Okay.
I
Commissioner
have
Hammond.
none this morning, thanks.
Commissioner Sendelli. Mr. Wayne.
The only thing to bring to the board's attention, I'll be heading up to Tallahassee next week.
Oh, great.
Travel safe.
Thank you. Thank you for going. I have one item this morning. We've been contacted by the group for home base program. They have actually, Senator Pasadoma is doing a bill sponsoring them, and they're only asking us for no money, obviously, just to ask for a letter of support for the home base program. I have provided a letter to all your spaces there and also to your offices to basically, do we need a motion for this?
Yes, sir.
So a motion to either, for us to send a support letter in favor of the home base to Senator Pasadoma.
I move approval.
Second.
Motion, move second. Any public comment on that item? No public comment. We'll come back to the board. Any objections? No objections. Thank you. Next will be commissioner appointments. Commissioner Mann, do you have any appointments?
No.
Commissioner Hammond?
I have none.
Commissioner Sendelli?
I have one, that is Joseph Wallace to the Northwest Hurricane Bay MSTU.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any public comment? Any objections? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. Commissioner Wayne, any appointments?
I have none.
Okay, I don't have any either. County manager items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nothing today.
Okay, you want to go and give us an update on the workshop that we'll get that over with before we go to the public matters?
Yes, sir. This afternoon, we have a workshop with you to discuss the Sanibel Causeway Island Improvement Project. I don't think it'll take but half hour, 45 minutes.
Great, thank you. County attorney items.
Nothing for the board's consideration this morning, sir. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Everybody's enjoying the nice cool weather. Everybody's happy. Okay. Okay, well, this time we'll go to public presentations of matters concerning citizens for public comment. The rules are pretty clear. It's simple. Everybody gets 3 minutes to speak, no longer. The lights will turn on. We ask you're courteous during public comment and stay on fact based upon a point without being, just be nice. Talk to everybody like you talk to your neighbors. And since we met last month now, Roger, there's been a decision made by community development, and maybe you can give us the board an update since we met last as far as the Fiddlesticks application for a gate to the public road.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, you'll recall that the Fiddlesticks folks have made application to install a gate at the back of their community that would then allow for traffic to flow on a regulated basis through Briarcliff Road and out the front entrance to that community. I'm going to ask the county attorney for some help with this explanation in just a minute, but the process calls for it to be an administrative review, which has taken place. During the course of that process, we had a number of conversations with the county attorney's office, with the staff from community development and met with some, I think probably 6 or 7 of the community members from Briarcliff on December 21st to have a conversation about, their concerns and an explanation as to the process. During the course of that conversation, they had a number of questions that they asked, and I told them that we would, before decisions were made, we would provide them with answers. Well, as these things go, in consultation with the county attorney's office, it turns out that we were advised that we should not send that communication until the community development actually made their ruling and sent that document, and it was for legal purposes. In advance of that, the day before that decision was sent to the Briarcliff community, I know that Mr. Loveland had a phone conversation with one of the members of the from that meeting that we had on the 21st to convey that message. But it sounds, it has the appearance that message may have stopped there and not conveyed to the rest of the community. So I know that we have folks that are upset. We talked with them outside this morning, and I have a really clear understanding why they're upset. What they're looking for is a public hearing versus an administrative process, and I'm going to ask the county attorney to help us understand that.
Richard?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Board members, commissioners, as you know, having served a number of years now, the Board of County Commissioners has established by ordinance and administrative code procedures that are to be followed by your staff in the event of receipt of certain applications. This application in particular called for an administrative review. That was the process that was applied. That yielded a decision. That's the process that is in place. We do not adjust processes based on the nature of the application, nor, with all due respect to the public comment that's to come, public outcry. To do so would be fundamentally unfair to all the people of Lee County. Just as those in opposition may not appreciate the process now, I'm certain that they would if they were an applicant. Our job as your staff is to apply the processes, the rules and regulations that you have adopted for the processing of applications. That was done in this case. Beyond that, I would respectfully suggest that given the nature of the application, there was no legal basis to deny. In fact, there was a tremendous public policy argument to approve, and that was to afford a secondary access to a rather large subdivision that would then direct a minimal amount of traffic onto a county-maintained roadway. That's important to keep in mind. The Briarcliff Road at issue is county-maintained. One other issue, if I may, and I'm always somewhat hesitant to broach this in a public setting, but I need to in the sense that I've heard comments from some people directed toward you, the individual commissioners, that you should direct staff to do X, Y, and Z. As we have long counseled you, with all due respect to your positions, you do not have that authority. In fact, under the charter, there is a specific rule of prohibition, and with your indulgence, I'll read that into the record. Under section 2.21, paren 2, except for the purpose of inquiry or information, a county commissioner shall not directly or indirectly give directions to or interfere with the performance of the duties of any employee, officer, or agent under the direct or indirect supervision of the county manager or county attorney, period. The next section is the penalty for violating the section I just read. Violations of the section of the charter shall constitute malfeasance within the meaning of section 100.361, paren 1, paren B, Florida statutes. That is in the county charter. That is an ordinance that has been ratified and adopted by the people of Lee County and is binding upon you. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, following a thorough review by the community development staff and in consultation with the county attorney's office, the application was approved based on the administrative process, and we stand by to defend, if necessary, that decision, and I take responsibility.
Great, thank you. Richard, thank you for that input. Totally aware of the law, and I kind of echo that to some of the residents I spoke to, and most of them got it, and but it's unfortunate. Some people said, I don't care, I want you to break the law, and I don't care if you go to jail, I just don't want this to happen. So it's unfortunate, but I understand their concerns, but thank you for reminding us about that, though. But
It's just unpopular to remind your bosses of a limitation on your authority, but thank you.
thank you. Anything else, Roger? You good?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So the first comment card, where we have Willie Joe Schottmeyer. Willie Joe? And after Willie Joe, we have Dr. Joseph Sansom.
Congratulations, Mr. Mann, on your award. I'm here to ask and to plead that we get some type of housing emergency for those that are on the street. Understand that the Holiday Inn is up for sale. We got people with all kinds of background in restaurant, hotel, and that. It would be a perfect vehicle for all the nonprofits. And then we could do something about the housing, because the money that is made by the hotel and that would be going in to support the ministries, the housing, and that. So I understand that it was $10 million, now it's down to $9 million. So that's chump change in today's world. There's more. There's houses on Sanibel that cost more than that. Let's work together. We don't need to be. We need affordability. Youth hostel would be perfect. Somebody doing day labor, $20 a day or something. People don't need to be sleeping on the street. That's inhumane. I'm glad to help. I'm glad to panel. I talked to Lois Healy, affordable housing. She said, well, there's not enough property that's been allotted in that in this area. I said, you got Ballards, you got all these places instead of way out Lehigh. People need to be centrally located and near a bus stop. 15 goes through Ballard. So I ask, you got my phone number, you got the other advocate's phone number. We don't need to be on the street. The churches are allowing some people to sleep outside, but that's, they don't want you around until 10 o'clock at night, Nobody needs to be homeless. They need to be a safe place where they contribute. So that's my plea, okay? We don't want to be arrested, but if we're arrested, then we're arrested. Martin Luther King was arrested, We need basic human needs met. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Joseph Sansom. Morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Board. I'm a psychotherapist, and I'm here today to speak out against psychopathic authoritarianism in defense of our basic human rights in the Nuremberg Code. Nearly 2 years ago, this board obeyed the state and did a lockdown. I understand it was a difficult position. I'm not here to attack you on that, but I think everybody looking back realizes that was a mistake. And what I'm here today is to ask the board to make up for it. We've got a situation where we are developing a two-tier society here, a medical apartheid, where we've got the unvaccinated and the unmasked being discriminated against on a daily basis. And we pay taxes too. This is a clear violation of the Nuremberg Code. I sent you guys 150 studies that show that the masks don't work and are potentially harmful to your health and mental health. We just had the Senate hearings with Senator Ron Johnson, which I sent you guys as well, showing that the COVID vaccines increased cancer by 300%, according to Ren's Law's information, right from the Department of Defense. The VAERS system shows that and this is an early warning system, shows that 22,000 people have died. Studies in the past from these have shown that as little as 1% of the deaths get reported there. Now, I understand this is not the typical thing you guys deal with, but we've got a situation where businesses are coercing their employees. Remember, if it's illegal, if contract is illegal, it is not valid. So businesses are coercing employees to take a potentially very dangerous COVID shot and forcing these masks on them. And these are clear violations of the Nuremberg Code. Clear, it's not even debatable, let alone the 9th Amendment. What my request is for you guys to do is to issue a punitive penalty for businesses, governments, hospital systems, doctors' offices, anyone that forces or coerces a COVID shot, a PCR test, which is experimental, we're now getting them from China, as well as face masks. And the final request, if I could just have 10 seconds, is to do a study looking at the vaccinated and the unvaccinated, looking at mortality, looking at autoimmune diseases, cancer, and so on. And it needs to be a longitudinal study, and it can have nothing to do with Lee Health. And I'm not attacking anybody there, but there's a conflict of interest financially. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Next speaker, John Spence. And after John will be Robert Silver.
Good morning. So I want to start off by saying I've been in Lee County since '89. I have at least 3 or 4 of you sitting here now that I consider dear friends. We've done things socially. I hope I don't say something today that gets me put in jail. I know there's some sheriffs here and attorneys, but I'm representing Briarcliff. Thank you for the explanation. That was number 1 on the list. Was we met, we weren't all happy. I get it. It doesn't always follow the right procedure. It did happen and whatnot. So I understand that. Thank you for that explanation. And I agree, Councilman, I understood what the attorney said. Councilman, do not direct the building department. I'm an architect. I deal with it all the time. I know what you can't do. That I get. So we're not going to solve it today. This is just an open forum to share our feelings. I've lived in Briarcliff since 2004. I know how it works. I love it. We have a lot of people that are going to talk about it. And I've just got a few points that I want to bring up. We believe that there were meetings held that shouldn't have been held, that are part of this whole situation. You know, it's said that doesn't happen. It's not allowed to happen, but we have evidence that it has happened, and I've seen it. I've read the whole thing. So that concerns me. You know, there's been discussion that it's our road. Well, it's a county road. I get that. But when you go back in the records, what you find is that the people and the families that were assessed not only to build the road, but to build the bridge that eventually got us over the canal, those were the people that lived only in Briarcliff. No one else was assessed. That I've seen the documentation on. So, yeah, there's some ownership there in our hearts. Things that some people may know and may not know is I've read every document. I've read 100. I've seen some mistakes. We all make mistakes. Documents and numbers that don't calculate right and inferences that are made that weren't quite right. It's a lot of information and some missteps. I believe there have been missteps. There may be someone that steps up that'll talk more about that, but in generalities, I've read it all, I've seen it all, and I've seen those documents. From my perspective, for those who don't know, there are 3 or 4 options, okay? If they genuinely are concerned, if Fiddlesticks is concerned about getting out of their community during an emergency, remember the tornado that came through Briarcliff? Came right through my backyard. It literally ripped a hole through my hedge. So I get it that we're there and we got to all get out. Well, Briarcliff, we only have 1 egress, right to the light, and we're out. But they have 3 other options.
John, your light's out. I'm sorry, your time's up. Thank you, though.
Okay,
Speaker.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Robert Silver. And after Robert, Kathy Yavetin. Okay. All right. He showed up.
I've lived in Lee County for 43 years, and the reason I say that is because several years ago, when the county was planning the Michael Rippey, they planned it for a 4-way stop at Briar Ridge and Michael Rippey. And when the citizens reviewed that plan, we said, people are going to die. There's too much traffic here, and we need a stoplight. Well, they didn't put in a stoplight. There were 2 deaths, and now the county decided to put a stoplight there. Well, I think we're going to have the same problem with the Fiddlesticks gate. First of all, there's a question of whether the people of Fiddlesticks actually want this, because most of them don't even know about it. And there's no survey taken. But there has been a survey of the Briar Ridge people, and we're almost 100% against it, mainly because of the traffic and the deaths and the accident. The road isn't set up, and people walk on the road, and people ride bikes, and children play, and this is going to be a mess for commissioners because nobody is going to be happy with it. It's going to affect 600 people at Fiddlesticks. It's going to affect over 1,000 people on Briar Ridge. And the people at Briar Ridge have been meeting. We've raised over $30,000. We have a goal of $50,000 because we don't believe the county has followed its own procedures correctly. And we're going to oppose it to the bitter end. Thank you.
If I could, please. Excuse me. So the quorum here, we don't have applause, claps, or anything to encourage or discourage other speakers, so no applause allowed, booing, or anything like that, please. If not, you'll be removed from the courthouse. Roger, just for a follow-up for staff, Michael Rip, that's a state road, correct? That was done, it was before my time. I know that Michael Rip
Yes, sir,
was a
that's
state road.
correct.
So it's a state road that was planned by the state DOT, not the county, nor the intersection for the red light. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Making sure. Kathy, Yepton? And after Kathy, we have Ron Edenfield.
Morning. Morning. I'm a resident of Briarcliff. I live just one house off of Briarcliff on Quail Trail.
Your name again?
Quail Trail is a
Your name again, ma'am? I'm sorry.
Kathy Westland.
Okay.
I'm opposed to the gate. I'm about 500 yards up from the gate. And the road, to me, if it is a county road and supposedly taken care of, obviously you have not been out there to drive on it, especially near the church. It's like a washboard, very dangerous. I have come home in the evenings and almost run into golf carts full of kids that should not be in golf carts driving on Briarcliff Road. And I'm so afraid that if this goes through, if we've already had accidents at Briarcliff and Michael Rippey, even with the light, we're going to have more accidents on Briarcliff Road. Please come out and drive Briarcliff Road. And with the addition of people from Fiddlesticks, I think it's going to be a hazard that you're going to be hearing a lot about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I drive it there every week and have dinner at least twice a week, so thank you. Next speaker, Kathy Yevington. Is Kathy? Okay. And after that, Ron Edenfield.
Good morning. I had to write it down, sorry. My name is Kathy Yelvington. I am a resident of Briarcliff. My husband and I have been married 37 years, and for 32 of those years, we wanted to live in Briarcliff. In 2017, our dream came true. We bought a fixer-upper, and we're still fixing up. Briarcliff is a quiet country setting that we wanted to raise our family and one day our grandchildren in. To install a gate at the back of Briarcliff, which is where our family lives, allowing the Fiddlesticks residents to use our quaint country road, will forever change the landscape of our precious community. The residents of Briarcliff are satisfied and happy with our one-way in and one-way out two-lane road. We all know how to safely take turns passing and navigate around the multitude of daily landscape trucks, trailers, and workers, service vehicles, delivery drivers. We watch for and protect the bikers, the walkers, and the occasional dog that may have escaped from his yard. We don't have sidewalks, and we're good with that. We don't have street lights, and we're good with that also. What we do have is children of all ages standing at bus stops on Briarcliff Road. We all take our dogs on walks, ride bikes with our children and grandchildren. Some of us have horses and go on horseback rides. Some of us have golf carts to go visit our neighbors or take an evening ride. We have children on scooters and being pulled in wagons. We have runners and walkers and Girl Scouts going door to door selling cookies. Fiddlesticks has 2 or 3 other options for an additional gate. A south gate the south option, I think, is best for them. While the Briarcliff Gate option may be most beneficial to them financially, it would be a grave detriment to our precious community. Clearly, the Fiddlesticks Gate benefits one party at the expense of another party. And I, along with my family and my neighbors, are strongly opposed to the Fiddlesticks Gate. Thank you.
Ron Edenfield. And after Ron, Tracy Burris.
I thought I was supposed to start when I started speaking, not before I got here, but good afternoon, or almost afternoon. Pleasure to be here again. I understand there's been a lot of conversation, and unfortunately I wasn't able to get here till just a few moments ago, but I wanted to share a couple of details with respect to some of the things that I have heard were said. A group of us from Briarcliff did have a meeting with the county manager and some of staff on the 23rd. I've heard it rumored that we left there happy. We did not leave there happy. We left there hopeful that our voices had been heard and that something positive would come of that meeting. Not to go into the details of the meeting, but we did receive I also received a phone call late in the afternoon on the 13th of January, some 3 weeks after the meeting, and I was advised by Mr. Loveland that they would be issuing the denial of our request for interpretation, that the county would be issuing the administrative deviation or the administrative amendment to the PUD, that they would also be sending out an email to the community. All of these things were presented to me in the future tense during that conversation. What I didn't know was all of those things had already happened. The email had already gone out, the approvals had already been posted, and so I was a little upset by that. But I understand timing is everything. We also were promised that our issues would be addressed on a point-by-point basis. And I expected a factual, code-relative response to that. We did receive a response to that on the 28th, just last week, and the justifications for in response to most of our inquiries were paper thin. Supposition, conjecture. We were looking for code-related, hey, here's where the code says we can do that, and here's why we did that. And we got, well, it's not reasonable to expect. That certainly falls way short of what we expected as being a point-by-point response to our inquiries. With that, I'll leave it at that, and thank you again for your time. Have a great day.
Tracy. After Tracy, Duann Cunningham.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Burris. I have lived in Briarcliff for 17 years now. I just want to welcome you to come down, come take a walk with me, a bike ride with me. However, you get the inside of the road, and you take the outside, I'm taking the inside near the ditch. But we just need to do this before rainy season because those ditches fill up pretty quick. So imagine your children walking, there's no place for them to go. Just have a few points. Obviously, safety, that's the #1 issue. I also heard there was funds set aside to improve Briarcliff Road. I don't have the proof, but I just want that to be acknowledged as well. I really do wish that Fiddlesticks would consider the other options of using another way out. We only have one way in and one way out also. And if emergency services is an issue, there is the EVOC gate system that could be put in place. So they could get police, EMS, paramedics in there quickly, and it still wouldn't ruin the quaintness of Briarcliff Road. Just the traffic study. I'm not sure when that traffic study was done. I've heard that it was done around May of 2020. That was during COVID, so probably no school buses, not many people going to work, no seasonal traffic, which we don't get too much down Briarcliff. But those are some points I want to make, and I really hope you do consider the issues that we have with following through with the gate. We do definitely oppose it. Thank you.
Duann Cunningham. After Duann, we have Brian Owens.
Good morning. Thank you for listening to me. I'm not a public speaker, so I apologize for my sweaty hands and feet. I kind of echo everything that Ron had said and Kathy said and a lot of my Briarcliff community residents. I think one of the things that I'm most concerned about is the safety on Briarcliff Road. I typically leave my house anywhere between 6 and 7 a.m. almost every single morning. And not during an off season, but during when there's, the traffic on Briarcliff Road, when schools are in session and you can't see kids at stop signs. You can't see kids walking down the street, and there's traffic, the amount of waste management that comes through, the landscaping people that come through, the horses and the golf carts, all the safety issues that happen on Briarcliff Road are not being evaluated if we open up the gate that's on Fiddlesticks. And I understand they want a way in and way out, but there's other options for them. Of course, they're going to be a little bit more expensive for them, but I think the residents in Fiddlesticks can probably afford that little extra expense. But the traffic on Briarcliff Road can't support additional traffic from another community. So I wish you would reconsider whatever you can do, whether it's a legal thing or a county thing, or just reconsider it. We just can't afford to have any more traffic on the road. I brake for turtles. I brake for animals. I brake for kids. I brake for golf carts. I brake for horses. And sometimes you can't even get out of your street because there's so much traffic going in there. So if anything you guys could do, please reconsider the gate at Fiddlesticks, having it not come through Briarcliff. Thank you.
Brian Owens. After Brian Owens, we have Kathy Nimmith.
Hey guys, good morning. I want to talk about the word inevitability, and it actually goes back to Michael G. Rip Parkway, because I did sit down with the Florida Department of Transportation about that road. I'm actually on Fox News with respect to that when I told the folks that there will be a fatality quickly at that intersection. I've lived back in Briarcliff for over 2 decades. Sure enough, in 2 weeks, we had 2. So let's talk about what the county attorney said. I do agree with the county attorney. The road is a Lee County road, Briarcliff Road. However, it does not meet the standards of a Lee County road. It's not wide enough. It has improper drainage, and it doesn't have sidewalks. And really what you're going to have happening with Fiddlesticks, and I would bet my next paycheck that they will use this as a service gate to their community. They will send all their plumbers, HVAC, gardeners, landscapers, everybody, Amazon delivery. They will force them through our gate. And if I heard your comment that you've been down there a couple of times, why don't you come down there a little bit longer, spend some time, listen to what Michael G. Rip Parkway has done to our community with people, because I remember the Florida Department of Transportation saying to me, don't worry about it, Mr. Owens. It's only going to be a 35-mile-an-hour road. If you want to go and see some really cool car races, you need to come down to our community to see them run up and down Michael G. Rip Parkway, because the Sheriff Department lets it happen. Why not you guys letting it happen as well? You guys need to pay attention. If you do it, inevitably, you're going to give them the gate. I already heard that from county staff because they sit behind their books and their traffic impact studies and they never come. When you give them the gate, I want you guys to come down and live through what we're about to live through. I don't mind it. Give them the gate, widen our road, fix it, save our children, save everyone else. Put some sidewalks in, guys, and a better road.
The next speaker is Kathy Nimmith.
Good morning. Kathy Nimmith, 40-year Lee County resident, 25 years in Briarcliff. My husband and I own a company. We employ people here in town. We've raised our adult children who now have grandchildren in Briarcliff. We are very rooted in this community. With that being said, I had a whole thing I was going to say, but a few things I picked up today I think are more important. One, when we started out today, we started with a prayer to God that we hope that God will allow our leaders to open their ears up today to whatever the right decisions should be for anything that they would be addressed for today. So in the meantime, from what I've been hearing, is this really is nothing more than an administrative process, which I don't understand. Because to us, this isn't about a piece of paper or somebody looking at a map and a road to decide how many more cars can be on that road. I don't understand why we, as residents that are going to be affected by this, don't have any say from the beginning of the process. It's in administration. It's the administrator. It's an administrative review. That's all I've been hearing. And then there's all these different departments that check a box, but I guarantee none of them have driven down that road, walked down that road, or even looked at the lay of the land before making this very dangerous and possible reckless decision. We elect our county leaders to represent us. If we don't have a voice in the lower ends of the administration, then who does? If these things affect us, where is our voice? Who do we talk to? And we want to be heard, and we want to be addressed, and we want to know why and how these decisions are coming about. I could go on, and I would say everything everybody else just said about our concerns, about our neighborhood. We've lived there a very long time. But I think I'm more concerned now about the process. I don't understand the process. And what I did hear the county manager say a little while ago as he was explaining the process, in between the beginning and the end, his term was, as things go. Well, you know, as things go. Well, I don't know how things go, as things go, in terms of the steps that are taking to get to the point where we are today. I don't know what that means, as things go. It sounds to me that we are not being heard, we're being brushed off because we're being told that it's not on your desk yet, it's not on your agenda, it's not your job, it's out of your control, and I'm addressing everybody in this room, and frankly, I don't believe that. So with that being said, I hope that you will truly look at this process that I feel has been railroaded through. Thank you.
Next speaker is Laura Allen. Laura Allen, and after Laura Allen, we have Robert Manetti.
Moving here some 25 years ago, and after living for a time in Cook County, Illinois, I was pleased to learn about the Sunshine Law, which made sure nothing was done sub rosa, but out in the sunlight, if you will. So how did this happen? A gate which will affect all the residents of Briarcliff was approved without any public forum or any input from our community. And when we have the temerity to ask for information or for clarification, we're told we have no standing. Our commissioner says he had nothing to do with it. The county attorney says the commissioner had nothing to do with it. It was Mr. Desjardins, Mr. Loveland, Mr. Rodriguez, but we didn't vote for them. We feel we're not being represented. Some years ago, we had a commissioner who came out to our neighborhood when we had concerns, sat at my neighbor's kitchen table to listen to us. I guess those days are over. What we know is we're not being represented in Briarcliff. And so next election, we'll find somebody who will represent us. And if there's anybody out there thinking about a run for this commission, this could be the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Robert Manetti. And after Robert, we have Barbara Heyman.
I originally was thinking that I would just pass my 3 minutes on and say that I was in belief of everybody that had just come forth. But after listening to the dog and pony show before this start, we were allowed to speak, which was really kind of humorous, thinking that our tax money is being spent like this, but I understand. I thought, what could I do to make you guys actually care about what I'm saying? And the only thing I could think of was be like I would be on Let's Make a Deal. Like one side of me would have a dollar bill, the other side would have a voting thing, And I'm finding it that the only thing that matters is money and a vote. I'm really disappointed the people here care about their community, and we're not being heard the way that we feel that I think, you guys should. I understand the legality part of it, but I believe that if it was done correctly, you guys could have a say and let due process take place. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, Barbara Heyman. And after Barbara, Dan Satter.
Hello. I'm from Briarcliff. My name is Barbara Heyman, and I do oppose the gate, which was approved, and the reason is because of a safety issue. What everybody has stated, it's a narrow road where everybody uses it, the kids, this and that, and everything else. And the way the process was, that we had no public input, is very disappointing. And that's why we're all here today. And not just the adults in this community, but I'm going to read you a letter I received from an 11-year-old. And this is her concerns about this. She said, help stop the Fiddlesticks Gate. And she said, I just turned 11 years old, and I love our neighborhood. I've been here since I was born. Could you help us stop the Fiddlesticks Gate? I have 2 horses of my own, and I love going riding around the neighborhood. Very nice people let me do that. With the Fiddlesticks Gate, so many cars are going in and out of our neighborhood. So many more crashes, and a lot of kids like to ride bikes. Motorcycles and other stuff. With so many more cars, people can hurt kids and animals too. So if you can help all of us stop the Fiddlesticks Gate, it would help a lot of people. And that's from an 11-year-old child who is very concerned about this matter. And I'm not happy with the process of where it is, and I wish that you could reconsider your decision on that gate. And also, Fiddlesticks has an exit out, and we have one exit and they have one exit. Well, be patient. It's season. Sit at your gate. We have to be patient and sit and get out on our road. They should be patient and sit on theirs. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker is Dan Satter. After Dan, Virginia Fisher.
Gentlemen, again, thank you for letting me speak, and thank you for your service. I know that sometimes can be a thankless job, but one of the things I wanted to bring up, though, is, again, a concern about the process. I know our county manager, the attorney, said that it was within the law, that it was in their scope, and myself, I'm a home designer. I've worked in planning. I've lived here for 50 years, and I know how we can use the law, and we can read it one way and interpret it another way. I had a fire official tell me my office building they didn't have access to it from a county road that it was facing because there was a swale. So we can, interpret things the way we want. But I don't believe there was a due process done in this. One of the letters from the county manager, stating that one in the letter says it's only going to be for residents of Fiddlesticks only. Yet further down in his letter, it says that it'll be residents and golf members. And I thought, well, that's an interesting how the letter changes there. In his defense, he talks about the fact that Fiddlesticks needs to be brought up to the current code, which requires 2 entrances. But yet in the same letter saying that Briarcliff, although listed as a collector road, does not meet the qualifications. So why, on one hand, we're requiring Fiddlesticks to bring it up to code for their community, but not the road that is accessed on? The other thing is the defense that they said about us not having any kind of standing or say in it because it's totally internal to Fiddlesticks. Okay, just because the cul-de-sac is within the community, but it connects to Briarcliff Road and it goes down every one of our houses, and that traffic will impact us. So that's our concern, is that I understand what the argument is, but we're asking, who else do we go to other than our county commissioners that we've elected to see that this process wasn't done? Why were certain things waived for Fiddlesticks, like traffic studies and so forth? So there's been some things I think that are not appropriate. I think the things have not been handled right, and we've been denied the process to speak. as far as a public hearing about it. And that's what we're really just asking for from the county to do so. Even some of the things, like one of the things even noticing, because they're talking about, you know, life safety and public health. Again, they've been here for over 42 years. And again, as other people have stated, they have direct access to Daniels Parkway, where the hospitals, fire department, you know, is. All those things are off Fiddlesticks, not through Briarcliff. So, and even if they did put this back entrance, I don't think, what I've understood is the change in Fiddlesticks traffic is probably less than 3% decrease in the amount of traffic that will go through Fiddlesticks. So it's little benefit to Fiddlesticks to do that. And so again, our argument is, you know, if it's really for the public health and safety of the people of Fiddlesticks, I think that's a very thin argument. Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you for your public comment. Virginia Fisher, and after Virginia, Fred Jess.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Virginia Fisher, a Lee County resident since 1968. First of all, I'm not in favor of the gate. My husband has owned land in Briarcliff since 1971, and we have lived in Briarcliff since 1977. All properties at that time were assessed, resulting in the Briarcliff residents paying for the road and the bridge over a 10-mile canal. When Fiddlesticks residents bought, they understood there was one entrance exit. When Briarcliff residents bought, we understood one entrance exit. The Fiddlesticks board desires a second entrance exit, which can be made available via Alico Road, which does not cut through a quiet community. It seems that one community, Briarcliff, is being sacrificed for another community's convenience. It just isn't right. Thank you.
Thank you. Fred Geis, and after Fred, Beverly Anderson.
Good morning. My name is Fred Geist. I live in Briarcliff, and I'm adamantly opposed to seeing this road go through. The road is way too small for additional traffic. It's barely adequate for our own use. And the road does flood. There's a lot of people on the road. There is a dangerous, dangerous situation coming. Dangerous situation. And when it happens, you can look back and say, wow, that's too bad. It will be too bad. And I'm disappointed also that Fiddlesticks thinks that they can run through here. I know you've got a road you want to put through the Three Oaks Parkway. There should be plenty of access for Fiddlesticks to get onto the Three Oaks. Is that not true? Will they not be able to go on to Cecil? Will they go on to the new road that's going through? I think they have access there. So why they have to go through our property, I don't know. It's a hostile takeover, and we feel like we've been victimized by that. The biggest problem that we've had, I think, and the people have represented and said that nobody has talked to us about this. Nobody has come to us, nobody's allowed us a chance to deal with this issue, or at least express some concerns. So I'm pretty disappointed. I heard what the attorney said. Cecil, I heard what you said earlier today on the steps. But if this is the case, then I would say that the people in planning, which I think we have some people from planning here, I think they've done a pretty poor job. And I think they've done a pretty poor job. I've sent letters to them and all of you and heard back from nobody. Nobody called back. Send a letter, we're considering. Nothing. There's been no signs out on the where we live that there's a meeting, that we're going to discuss it. There's nothing in the paper. I look at the paper. Yeah, I look at those things. There was nothing. There's going to be a change on this road? Nothing. So I think it was done poorly. And if we can't talk to you guys, I don't know who we talk to. I mean, where do you go? If we can't talk to you, I'm not sure what our recourse is. If you guys think that these people are doing the work for the county and you think they're doing a good job, that's fine. If not, I, as a commissioner, I would probably get I'd get new people in the planning department. But I think they've done a bad job. I don't think they've been to our community. I don't think they've seen the road. And I would get a new city manager. If the city manager couldn't deal with people.
So you need to direct to the board as public comment for the public comment, not be derogatory to one person. So if you could just focus on the board, any issue you have like to bring up for county.
I will talk to the board, and that's really, I'll yield my time, but that's my concern, that really we just didn't get a chance to talk. And I'm glad that, I'm hoping that there might be some recourse through at least our elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you. Beverly Anderson. And after Beverly, Rich Wagner.
Hi, I'm Bev Anderson. I live on Briar Ridge Circle. Not for many years, but I've been up and down the road many times. And you talked about a traffic impact statement or a study. I'm not sure what that entails, if it's talking about the surface of the road or the road conditions. But the people who drive up and down are in the neighborhood are very cautious, very concerned, and very deliberate in the way they drive the road, and to be cautious about the children walking from the school buses, getting off the school buses, people with golf carts going up and to pick up their kids, people coming out of the neighborhoods trying to walk. I see people trying to walk dogs that they have to come to a standstill. So widening the road would probably accommodate some of these issues, but I hate to sacrifice having a road widened and a sidewalk put in one side. To increase it's my understanding that there's 600 homes in Fiddlestick, and I think there's 600 homes in the Briar Cliff area. So I hate to double that and have the traffic doubled, and everybody have to wear rear view mirrors just to take a walk, for their public safety. And I think that's what it's about. It's just the public safety. And I hate to have them just infringe on that. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Rich Wagner. After Rich, we have Paulette Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. Mann, Frank. We've lived in this town since '73, and we know all about your good deeds, and we thank you. You even ran for governor, didn't you?
You are an old timer.
We're an old timer. And Roger, your daughter was in school with our daughter when they were 6 or 5 even. So, you know, we've been around.
So we're all neighbors.
Around here. And stuff gets managed. We all know how stuff gets managed in the right way. We have people that manage our growth. I think we're almost 15 times bigger than we were when we went to the mall and saw everybody that we knew at the mall. Remember, on Friday nights, we'd have ice cream. So the administration of this thing, it got to the administration part without you guys. And I would ask the administrators to kind of take another look, because these folks are upset. They want safety, but we love our town and we love our community. And thanks for probably more like 60 years, Frank. You worked hard for us. Thanks.
Thank you. Paulette? Like to follow that up with that now?
I'm Paulette Wagner, the other half of that, and we have lived in Briarcliff for 30-some years. I am not going to go over everything that everybody said. You don't need to hear it all again, but I do want you to know that I wish you would look at it again. And it's very curious to me, and perhaps I misunderstood, but in one of our little neighborhood meetings, I thought I heard somebody say they tried to do this, I don't know how many years ago, but it was defeated. So I'm thinking about that, and I thought, well, what have they done to improve Briarcliff Road so that it would be, what do they call it? A major access road or whatever. Have they improved the road, made it wider? No. Have they added drainage ditches so that they could make the road wider? No. Did they put in sidewalks? No. Did they put lights along the road? No. They haven't done anything to improve the road. So why now, after this many years, is it all of a sudden appropriate that they can double the traffic? I just am going to reiterate what everybody has said. Whoever has made these decisions, if you would come out, not at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but maybe as some people say when they go to work or when you come home from work, just drive on these roads and kind of look at it. And I thank you for your opportunity to give us the opportunity to speak to you today, and I'm respectful of everyone's jobs. I know that these are not easy decisions, but I just would like you to reconsider. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Paulette. Next speaker is Jamie, I believe it's Black, Jamie Black, North Pebble Lane. And after Jamie, we have a Dawn Johnson from Glendale.
Hello, my name is Janice Black, and I've been a resident of Briarcliff for 33 years. And I thank you for letting us speak here today. I concur with all my fellow Briarcliff residents. There's not much more I could say, as they all repeated what I say, but I do concur with them. And I was just, because of all the traffic coming back and forth, the one concern also that I'm interested in is the crime, possibly. You know, we have very little crime in our area, but people coming through there, not going to go straight through. They'll probably go through the rest of the roads, and there'll possibly be some crime. And that's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker is Dawn Johnson. Then after Dawn, we had Joni Callahan.
Good morning. My name is Dawn Johnson, and I'm a Fort Myers native, and I'm here to oppose the gate. I've been in Fort Myers my whole life, and I built my own home there 20 years ago. The traffic it's going to impact us is greatly going to hurt our children, our wildlife, the big cypress squirrel, the bonneted bat, and also come during the hours when the school buses are picking up children. You need to see it. We moved out there to be in the country, and it's changing fastly. Just please hear us out. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Dawn Johnson, and then after that, Johnny Conahan.
Hi. Good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity to address the board this morning. I am a native Fort Myers resident. My family, we go back to like 3 or 4 generations being in Fort Myers, so we've been here a long time. My husband and my 2 children and I have lived in Briarcliff since 1998. It's a beautiful community in which we've enjoyed walking, bike riding, and enjoying nature. It is a quiet, safe neighborhood, which we have always enjoyed living in. My family and I are very concerned about the increased traffic that this opening of the gate would allow through our neighborhood. As everyone has said before, if you come and drive through our neighborhood, you would see that the roads are very narrow, and there are many S-curves that go along into the neighborhood. There are many bikers, walkers, horseback riders, and we feel that this would really put them in danger with this increased traffic. I just would ask that you would look into this, just review it again before you would make the decision, and I hope that there would be other areas such as the 3 Oaks exit into the Fiddlesticks, for the Fiddlesticks community. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Roger Berkeley, is it Berkey? Country Court. And after Roger, Ernesto Benbelbo.
Good morning, my name's Roger Byerly. We moved into Briarcliff in 2015. We're opposed to the gate. The country court is close to the end, and many of our neighbors like to walk down to the cul-de-sac, to and from, back and forth. And it's not just kids and bikers and horses and things like that. We also have elderly people, and I have 2 of my neighbors which use walkers or motorized scooters. And there's gonna be more of them in the future, and I'm just worried about them, you know. We bought into the neighborhood because of the peacefulness that we feel. We have no sidewalks, our roads are narrow, there's several sharp 90-degree turns. Don't allow vehicles to pass tractor trailers or any bigger equipment that comes in there. Many of the families in there have trailers and tractors and such. They come over the yellow lines when we go around the corners, but we know to stand back and let them pass. Even on the oncoming, the straightaways, I feel like I'm driving on a shoulder every time I pass. A lot of trucks in there, they have the big mirrors, all that stuff. We have to move over to the side. And that's just a way of life we got used to, you know. It's really dangerous at night. There's no lights back there. I'm not asking for lights. It's the life that we bought when we bought into Briarcliff. We knew what we were buying. Fiddlesticks residents, they bought their homes knowing they were driving all the way around. And that's, to me, that's their deal. I mean, that's what they bought, you know. They have a long straightaway no roads left and right. And they just, I don't know how fast they go down. I've been up and down the road a couple times, but if you open up Briarcliff to that, they're going to use our road as a straightaway. And they just want to rush and get to their gates. Everyone wants to get home, I get it. It just makes it unsafe for everybody. People buy into subdivisions because of the amenities. You know, they got pool, they got tennis, they got golf, and that's their lifestyle. Our lifestyle is the road. That's all we got, you know. We don't have the sidewalks. We don't have any of that, you know, and if you allow the gate to go through there, we lose everything. We lose our lifestyle, which is what we thought we had. So I'm asking this to be reevaluated and for some people to do the right thing, their hearts. Thank you.
Thank you. Ernesto. And after Ernesto, we have Harlan Fisher.
Good morning. I live in Briarcliff. It's a very nice neighborhood, lots of working families, quiet kids, animals. Oppose that gate simply because just this road is a very thin snake with some very serious kinks in it. There's a code to driving it. We have joggers, we have bikers. There's no way to hurry through that road, okay? People still do, but everybody who lives there knows how to handle that road, especially at night. Adding traffic will definitely endanger us. It'll degrade our lifestyle. It'll endanger us as its residents. And, you know, we never had a say in this. We were never, ever even consulted that 600 homes, for the convenience of 600 homes, this road was going to actually take up this much traffic. This road will not take up this traffic without some problems. We will have injuries, we will have accidents, and hopefully we won't have deaths. But it is not suited for this. That should be revisited. We should have a public airing of this. We should have a say in this as well, because it is affecting us very directly. Thank you.
Thank you. Harlan Fisher. And after Harlan Fisher, Bill Ing, IHRIG, Triple Crown Court. Harlan, good morning.
Good morning. Briarcliff resident since, well, I purchased my property there in 1971 and built our house there in 77. I go back to when Daniels Road was a gravel road. Alico Road was, if it wasn't gravel, it was really potholed all the way, and Briarcliff Road was gravel. The residents in the 70s paved that road in Briarcliff, and we also were assessed for the bridge, and eventually the county took over. So on the basis of just Briarcliff residents building that road initially, I think we should have more of a say-so than just saying, well, it's on this paper as a law and it's already a done deal. Well, it doesn't have to be a done deal. The gate isn't opened yet. So I just ask you to look at the lifestyle you're going to change for Briarcliff Road for the convenience of another neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill. After Bill, we have Ralph Klein.
Good morning. I'm here to state that I really adamantly oppose the Fiddlesticks Gate onto Briarcliff Road. The process that was used to approve it, not what I'd like to see. We elect people to oversee things and to work for us. And I, in this case, don't believe that necessarily happened. Briarcliff is a rural road. Simple. It's 35-mile-an-hour speed limit on it. Driveways exit directly onto it. School buses pick up and drop off children. It is used by bicycles, joggers, walkers, people with pets, so on and so forth, as you've heard. At some point, it was designated as a collector road. And I believe it was a group of planners that kind of just looked at a map and said, you know what, this is a collector road because all these roads collect. The road was built in the late 70s. Before that designation existed. Lee County has standards for collector roads that Briarcliff does not meet. That would be the width, sidewalks, lighting, and so forth. Public safety is a big concern. It's, again, a rural road. Proposed unmanned gate. Proposal says barcode stickers. That's not safe or smart, I don't think. Traffic backups are going to be at peak times. There'll be drainage issues, flooding issues exist out there now. In the S-turns, the road floods, you can't see the edge when it floods. I used to drive my truck out there so my wife could follow behind me. I'd splash the water out of the way so she could get through. Still happens. It's not as bad, but it still happens. Briarcliff has one way in, one way out, as you know. Same as Fiddlesticks. Been like that for 40 years. Both communities have been there for 40 years.
Bill, your time's up. Thank you, though. Conscious other speakers. Thank you. And you're right, the dip is better than what it used to be. That's for sure. Ralph Klein. Ralph Klein. Okay. And Carrie Pratthorn. Carrie's here. I'd like to also thank Carrie for her father's service to Lee County, been Pride for many years. So thank you, Carrie, for being here today.
Thank you, Commissioner. I was sitting here thinking it takes a lot to get me out to something like this and away from my business that costs me money. And it's been exactly 22 years since I've been here, and that was when they named the road for my father, which was quite an honor for him. It's a shame he didn't live to enjoy it. I've been a resident of Briarcliff. We bought out there almost 40 years ago. I've seen a lot of changes, but the one thing that hasn't changed is the road. The road is too narrow. It barely lets two cars coming at each other get by. You often have to go off on the shoulder, which we really have no shoulder. It just goes down into the ditches. We do have an awful lot of children and adults and other people using the road for all types of activities, from the horseback riding to the scooters to their bikes to whatever. And I've stood out at bus stops with children and grandchildren for more years than I want to admit, and watched all the traffic go up and down there. Every morning when I leave to go to work, there's no less than 2 or 3. It's very rare I don't pass 2 or 3 trucks that I have to go into another lane to go by, whether they be vehicles that are there for lawn maintenance, or I don't know why Comcast and FP&L are out there on a daily basis on the same places where they work, but there just isn't room. In the evenings, we have people trying to make deliveries back there, looking for roads, creeping down the road. There was a Friday night when I was coming home, There was a big discussion on the road, a big brouhaha about somebody that was trying to find their way down the road and they weren't moving fast enough. I understand this isn't going to be settled here today, but please don't think that we're going away. I'm not going away. This is too important. I'm not going to have my property taken up for widening the road, and I'm not going to have my children put at harm for leaving the road the way it is. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next speaker is Marcia Manetti. Marcia Manetti.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am here to say that I adamantly oppose the gate. I support the comments made by my colleagues and neighbors in Briar Cliff. I spent my life in the field of education. And if you know anything about the field of education, you know it was families and people who believed and loved in their children who did not allow anyone to hide behind the words, "It's the law," or "This is the legal way we must proceed." It is only because of people who raise their concerns and their voices and ask for the right thing to be done that children with special needs go to school today, that our schools aren't segregated for people that are minorities, on another way that people made a difference by raising their concerns. I say this because the gate is the very same kind of issue. Our voices need to be heard. There has to be someone with the courage, whether it is one of you or it's one of the staff, who has the courage to say we can slow this process down. Why are we moving so fast? Why can't voices be heard? What is the reason behind that? That concerns me. I spent my life working for states in Florida at FGCU, where I worked under sunshine, and I'm very concerned that it was not followed in this process for this issue. Very. I ask that someone have the courage to find a way, whether it be the county attorney look or a staff member say, you know what, I can slow down. I can hear what they're asking for. And if none of that can be done, then you should know that we need to look at what's stopping voices from being heard and have something on the ballot that changes this process, because this is wrong. You do not sacrifice one neighborhood for the benefit of another. And that is the only thing that I can see is happening here, because they do have other access. Three Oaks Parkway extension being one. Why can't we wait? They waited years for 2 gates. What is wrong with waiting a little longer? Please consider the lives of our children and do not sacrifice them for convenience for some. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? That's my last card we have on the record today. Okay.
Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, everyone else. My name is Mohammed Yassin. I'm from Lehigh, and I'm not going to talk about Fiddlestick and the other portion, although it's part of a concern. When I hear that, look, the proper process might not have been used, it concerns me as a citizen. I had been one of those people on the Lee County Review Board, Charter Review Board. Some of you came by, so it would be nice of all of us to educate ourselves on that, re-educate ourselves on that if that's a concern. What I came to do address this morning is LAMCID and its authorities that were given, and I'm thinking behind doors by one of an ex-representative at the state legislature some time ago. Today that state legislature is no longer a representative. However, the Planning and Zoning Board, and I know that, look, LAMCID is trying to come to you all to try to get those type of authorities on their books and put it on the ballot. I'm aware of that. The Planning and Review Board, I think you all are doing a superb job on that right now at the county level. The street lighting, I think you all are doing an excellent job on something of that nature. Keep those two entities in play and listen to what Lamsid say. I say don't give them those authority when the agreement come by. You know, we're not ready for that. I want to commend the sheriff department. They came by Saturday, and a few weeks ago I mentioned about 80 Afghan refugees resettling in Lee County. I want to commend the sheriff department for coming out there with bikes and food and all these other things. They did a superb job on that. I also want to commend Commissioner Mann for his always trustworthy service to Lehigh. All of you guys, but he's the representative there. But thank you all. Look out for Lehigh. Keep Lehigh in your mind, always. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Any public comment on the workshop today at 1:30? Being none, we'll come back to the board and we'll adjourn. Thank you.